you just get to a point where you can't breathe anymore. They're coming so quickly and they're so painful. And so then to have the...
Hey, welcome to MomGamers. Tough, the sensitive, interesting topic. C-section, cesarean versus vaginal delivery. How do we start this? Maybe you'll start, because Rachel, go start.
Every mom's got a story.
Oh, I'm glad that we both have the different, because I'm a C-section and Rachel has had vaginal.
Yeah,
so that's perfect.
Yeah, we just went for girls' night last week, and it's so interesting when you're around other moms how if anyone's had a baby recently or about to have a baby recently or soon, it seems like birth stories come up very easily, very quickly. Whenever there are any men around, they generally seem to get really uncomfortable. Like, why are you even talking about this? Why are you talking so openly about this? This is a really sensitive, weird thing. And I think for us as women and mothers, it's such an influential, such a huge part of it's essential for us to become moms.
Yes.
And so it becomes part of us because we are a mom. And
I'm really going to quickly interject. My son Remy, he's playing Minecraft while we're talking, and he's a boy. He's 11 years old. And that's one awesome thing I'm really glad about this, is that he gets to listen on these things. He's going to have a very unique perspective, and hopefully he'll remember this when he's in the delivery room.
With his future wife. Not in the next few years or anything like that, but in the future. It's a long ways off, Remy. You don't have to have.
Remy, what are you doing? What is that?
Chicken bomb.
Chicken bomb?
Yeah.
Oh. I have never seen that before.
Very cool.
What are you going to do with it? Why are there clear blocks?
Oh, they're just glass.
They're just glass. I didn't realize that the glass blocks looked purple. Is that you?
Yeah, because it's been updated.
Oh, okay.
You can change the color.
You can tell that I watch my kids play Minecraft all the time, right? Because I know everything that's going on.
I'm starting to appreciate it more. I like it more and more now. So
it's a really interesting thing, and I could see if I had more time, I could say that I would get into it. At one point, I was really into The Sims, like alternate universe kind of, alternate reality kind of thing. So I could see how this would be a really fun thing. I'm into interior design or design in general. So like you're designing and like your own world. Like I could see how it would be really fun.
Okay. Let's deliver
back
baby.
to the baby thing. Oh.
How was your experience?
Well, I have 4 babies, ranging from
very cute babies.
From 12, the oldest is 12, down to just turned 5, and each of them were so different and unique. One of my sisters is just starting to have babies. She is pregnant with baby number 2. And I remember when she was pregnant with baby number 1, she was very interested in wanting to be informed and wanting to know my story so that she could be prepared. Aww. And at that point, I had already had, I think, all 4 of my, I had already had all 4 of my babies. And so because I had already had the perspective of recognizing that each of the births were so different and so unique, that I was kind of like, what's the point of learning all of this stuff? Because whatever you have in your head, or if you start to have expectations, it very rarely meets those expectations.
No expectations. So do not have expectations.
When you start to have expectations, that's when it then starts to, I think, get really complicated, and when it can become more painful emotionally and physically. And so I think that it's really, I think that that's one of the first things, to just learn to relax and come what may. But so yeah, my first labor was very long. The subsequent ones were less long. One was almost born in our vehicle on the way. No, in the parking lot. Peter.
Oh.
One of them almost came out in the parking lot as my husband pulled in. But I think, I don't know. I don't know anything different than vaginal birth.
Yes.
I love my birth experiences. Really? They are precious and sacred, and I think that they're amazing. My kids have actually we've started a new tradition within the last probably 3 years where on their birthday, they want me to tell them about
that is so
their
cute.
birth. And so I share with them the time that they were born and the experience that I had while I was in labor, and then during the actual birth, and then after birth, and how we felt, and all of those things, like the logistics and the physical location and how I felt emotionally. And so it's it's such a beautiful thing. So I had a really amazing, so I think that we all, I maybe we don't. I know for myself personally, I have a hard time feeling like I can ever live up to my mom. I feel like my mom is the most amazingly patient and never yelled, and
it's true. She
was
is
always
wonderful.
kind and understanding, and so because of that, I just never, she rarely needed medication, even when she had headaches. I remember even as a teenager feeling like, I'm not going to take any pain meds because my mom doesn't need to take pain meds, so I'm going to wait as long as I possibly can before I take anything. Now I realize that it's okay, and if I need to take some ibuprofen, I'm going to take ibuprofen. So I'm, kind of come to terms with a lot of that, but there are still parts of it, and birth was one of those things. My mom's experience and what she shared with me about her birth experiences influenced me, and so she did it all naturally. I don't think she had any medicine at all, and so I wanted to try to do that same thing. I felt like I could do that.
I actually thought you did, but
so I didn't do an epidural, but I did use Nubane, and then with my last one, because it was so quick, I used fentanyl.
Those are IV. What is
it? They did give it to me through an IV because I had the bacterial infection that doesn't affect adults but will affect babies if you deliver vaginally. I feel like it's strep B or something like that.
Yeah.
And I had that, I think, with all of my deliveries and pregnancies.
So and that helps reduce the pain, right? Those.
And they just kind of take the edge off.
Okay.
So you still feel everything. It doesn't numb you. It just basically takes your contraction from a 10 to like a 6 or a 5. So it just lessens and helps you to breathe, helps you to take some time. And so that really was really helpful, especially with the first one. I think my first labor was just about 24 hours for the labor and delivery. I mean, for the first 12 hours, it really wasn't anything hard. It was like maybe it was escalating. It was cramps that were escalating to more severity, but still only I don't think in the first 12 hours it got any worse than my cramps that I have had. And so, I was tired by the time that he was born.
Okay.
And so there came a point where I was just like, I just can't breathe, as it seems like most moms get to, where you just get to a point where you can't breathe anymore. They're coming so quickly and they're so painful. And so then to have the Nubane to be able to kind of let me breathe a little bit more was really beneficial. And I actually was able to joke around after I got it and stuff like that. So that's what worked for me. I've had friends that have had horror stories after vaginal births. My vaginal births were...
Did you tear? Were you hurting? Did you have hemorrhoids? Anything?
So there was one time that I tore pretty badly that they had to stitch me, but it was only like, I think they grade them 1, 2, 3, 4, like a 4 being all the way to your anus.
Yes.
To your rectum. I think I tore to maybe like a 1 or 2. I only had to have like 2 or 3 stitches. But the last delivery, I did experience the ring of fire, which is where your cervix actually feels like it's on fire, where it feels like it's burning. Really? And so I did experience that with my last baby. Holy cow, Remy, that is super high dynamite.
Very cool, Ren.
Just commenting on some of the gameplay that's happening too. We are watching, enjoying Remy's creativity.
Thanks, Ren.
As he blows up the whole sky.
So after you had your first, and see, because again, we have different experiences.
Yeah.
Were you able to walk up right away? I'm going to the bathroom. I'm going to go get a snack in the hospital room.
It was pretty quick. It wasn't right away, but it was within a couple hours. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, girl, so different.
Yeah. And I don't even know, like, after C-sections. Like, TV and media makes it seem like C-sections are so convenient,
Yes.
and you would just schedule it, and your body then doesn't have to go through that. But then talking with a couple of friends very briefly, they were like, I was down for like 3, 4, 5 days where I couldn't just do whatever I wanted, or where I had very limited abilities. So tell us about your experience. And
so, pretty much opposite of you, Rach. I've had 4 C-sections. Gave birth to 5. One of them was a set of twins. So my first one, I was on the pathway to vaginal birth. I did gain a lot of weight. I gained about 70 pounds. And probably halfway through my pregnancy, I had really high blood pressure. So my OB was like, you got to keep, control of your weight gain. You have high blood pressure. You might be a candidate for preeclampsia, which is a thing where you have such high blood pressure that you could end up having a seizure and complications during delivery.
Yeah.
So I went 2 weeks early because my OB, just forced me to go to be induced, to have my baby be induced. And so I was in the hospital, just laying in bed, being induced, to give me Pitocin, if I remember.
Yep.
And nothing happened. This was maybe half a day. Nothing happened. Chris, my husband, was there, and and they gave me Pitocin, I think another thing where they put something up my vaginal to kind of wipe, to make them more tender, the cervical wall.
Yeah, I think it's Citadel or something like that, to get the cervix ready. Yeah.
You know what's funny? Like, I feel like when you do these things, you're like a short-term professional pharmacist. Like, I know every medicine. I've been to pharmacy school. And anyways, then I forget everything. So anyways, I eventually probably got another half day went by, and my OB said, we're just going to schedule you for a C-section. I remember feeling very sad. Like, I remember my baby shower, everybody was telling me their delivery birth, and you're going to go through this, it's going to hurt, but you'll be fine, and you're going to push and push. Remember to push, And I remember...
You'll forget.
And I'm
pretty sure that the pain makes you not forget that you need to push.
Right. So I remember, I felt kind of like, oh darn, not like failure is too harsh for a word, but I'm thinking, darn, I'm not going to do the vaginal thing.
You're missing out on an experience that you thought that you would have. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, or generations of what my mom and her mom down on the floor of their hut, dude, they did. Oh, I'm going to have my stomach slice open. That's what I thought. Darn it, and that was my first thought. I felt like I'm not expectation.
Yes.
I'm not going to meet that expectation.
Yeah.
So then but then the other thought was like, get this baby out. I want this baby to live and be healthy, and I'm alive. That was my other thought too. Okay. Right. So I'm thinking, fine, I'm totally fine having this, my stomach cut open. And then, so going through a C-section, you're wheeled in, they clean up your tummy area. You wheeled in, and they put this big blue sheet in front of you that you can't see down past that blue sheet anyways. And then before that, they give you the nerve block where they stick you in the back with a needle to really feel no pain from your torso and on. You feel nothing. Right. And they also put a catheter in you so you can pee in there freely. And then the actual surgery itself takes about like a good 15 minutes. So it's not long like labor where you don't know how it's going to end, right. But it's very scheduled, and you feel lots of motion, like pushing and like a lot of pushing down there, like they're pushing on your tummy, but you can't really feel it, but you can kind of feel it. And then there is one part when it's quiet and the baby's going to come out, and they really push down on your tummy. They almost like they're kind of gonna squish the baby out.
Right.
And going through C-section, and when the baby comes out, they clean up the baby, but you're still on the table. And at this point, I was very, very drowsy. I was in and out, not out of consciousness, but I'm very drowsy. Everything looks kind of hazy.
Is that common?
Yep, it's very common because I think they still shoot extra medicine in you, so you don't feel any pain.
Okay.
But I do remember holding baby, kissing baby. And then after that, you're wheeled into the recovery room, and at that point, they try to get you all settled, and then you hold baby again. But then fast forward, the next thing I was anticipating was the pain.
Yeah.
So, quick story: my mother-in-law has had all 4 C-sections, and she's so okay. So right, maybe I don't know, 5 hours later. 4 hours later, I can start feeling the pain. If I move a little bit, my whole body hurts. I have to stay in a fixed position in my bedroom, on my bed, hospital bed. And I'm thinking, I can't even grab the baby in the little tray next to me. So I was very stressed. How am I going to do this? If I move, it's just I can't even slide up or down the hospital bed. And then. So I'm in pain for a little bit, but the nurses constantly, they know what they're doing. They constantly give you painkillers, and the next important thing, they constantly give you stool softeners, because that's the big marker, is that you have to pass number 2 in order to go home. And for me, and maybe other C-section ladies know this, but that was the ultimate goal. This one of the scariest things to go through, because you just had a baby, right, which is scary, but the scariest thing is to do number 2 after having a C-section. It's extremely painful and tender, because they're cutting through skin, fat, muscle tissue, uterus, and you feel all that pain.
Right.
And also getting up for the first time is also very, very shaky and wobbly. So I think I was able to do that maybe a full day afterward, but very gingerly to the bathroom and back. But also other tender moments, like the nurse will always give you a quick spray down there when I'm on the toilet to wipe and keep you clean.
Yeah.
I remember that was always very tender and meaningful. Tender and meaningful. And then after that, I remember always feeling like there's no way I'm going to heal from this. It's going to hurt so much. But eventually I end up being home. And even at home for the next 2 weeks, it's still quite tender. And then the next 2 weeks, so the end of that month, I feel more confident. I'm already up and walking around. I could probably carry a load of laundry up and down the stairs. And at the same time, baby is pretty much sleeping all day. So it is very, I do have to say, and I'm maybe a lot of people might not like this, but being that I'm only C-section, there is opposite of you. I don't think I feel like I can never have your birthday tradition that you have with your children, telling them their birth story. I feel like C-section for me personally, it's less romantic.
Sure.
It's oh yeah, we just went and had. It's a surgery. It wasn't a labor. We just had surgery.
Right.
And I've struggled with that. I've struggled with being. It's not natural. I feel like I don't have a beautiful story to tell them. We didn't leave at 3 a.m. in the morning. It was almost scheduled in, unromantic. It was almost like a business deal.
Right.
And I've struggled with that, but I do appreciate hearing other C-section moms telling their labor C-section as if though it was a real labor. We went there, it was wonderful, even though it was a C-section. And in their head, it was as the same tier as a vaginal. But for me, I've had to force it, or I've had to say, come on, I still delivered a miracle, wonderful baby. Stop thinking of it as a lower tier.
Right.
I don't know. It's all in my head. So.
Well, and even thinking about what your experience being pregnant was like is so unique to each child that you could also share that and highlight that just as much as the actual time in the hospital. So talk about the food that you craved while you were pregnant with them,
Rachel, thank you
or
so
the
much.
clothes that you wore while you were pregnant with them, or the fun things that you did while you were pregnant with them, or how the difficult things, like, for instance, with, it not being a first child, you can talk about how it was difficult, or how one of the siblings did certain sweet things. Oh, this brother always loved to touch my belly, or they would poke my belly button and be like, pretend like they were pinching their sibling, or little anecdotes like that you could also then share, because it's the whole thing, and make it into just something a little bit larger, rather than focusing specifically just on the birth. It can be,
Rachel, I love you. That I thought I knew everything. That's right. I've always been stuck on the whole delivery, but I love being pregnant with each one of my pregnancies, and they were each so uniquely individual and fun, and that is worth telling a story already. So thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Each of my kids, I crave something different, and the kids that I crave sweet stuff, they now are salty, zesty things lovers, and the kids that I crave, spicy or tangy things, they're the sweet lovers. And so it's, there's always those little anecdotes that are so fun to share too, that kind of help get a glimpse into what life was like and how you prepared, because really it's about how you prepared for them to be here.
Yeah, thanks, Ray.
And how you prepared and how you welcome them into your family, and that can include what you did while you were pregnant, the baby shower, or all the diapers that you accumulated, or whatever. Yeah.
All right, mamas, please tell us your pregnancy birth story. We'd love to hear it. Comment below, subscribe, and tell a friend about our channel, and take us with you on your smartphone. You can listen to us anywhere, anytime. You don't even need to log in or have an account on YouTube. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye-bye.